have scored a 98 out of 100 in my 2025 ISC English Literature examination, and this video will encapsulate all the details that is there. So sometimes when you read Macbeth, you need to read the paraphrase. Sometimes you need to read references, the biblical references separately. But in this video, we will cover them all. So don't like Macbeth at all, then put the headphone, play this video, and just listen to it. Here, all the notes for Macbeth. This has all the 3 scenes in it, and this is what I used, what I studied, and I scored a 98. I'm not even exaggerating. Act 3, Scene 1. So a short summary to the scene is that Banquo is suspicious, and Macbeth arranges to have him murdered. Now we all know that Banquo was kind of aware of Macbeth's actions and everything. So skip 3 pages from the front of the book. You will reach this page, which explains the leading characters in the play. And over here you can read about Banquo. It says Macbeth's co-commander in Duncan's army, he also hears the witches' prophecies but resists their temptation. So what happens is that when the witches come and say that to Macbeth that you will be the king, you'll be this, you'll be that, even Banquo hears all of this, but he will resist the temptations, right? So he just also the witches say that to Macbeth that your descendants won't be king, but Banquo's descendants will be king. So Banquo could have just tried to kill Macbeth, and then he could have also been the king, his kids could have also been the king, but he resisted the temptations. But Macbeth cannot resist the temptations. He just wants to prove whatever the witches told were in fact right. So he is way too lured by the witches' words. So in this scene, Banquo is suspicious now that Macbeth is definitely going to opt for a very inappropriate means in order to become the king, and that is something bad for Macbeth. Macbeth does not want anybody to be an obstacle in his way of becoming the king. So he arranges to have him murdered. He arranges that Banquo is murdered. Scene 1, it takes place in Macbeth's castle. Enter Banquo dressed for riding, as in he will be going somewhere probably. Banquo says, "Thou hast it now, King Codor and Glamis, as the weird woman promised." Weird woman as in the witches had promised. So he's talking to Macbeth. He's saying that now you have it all. You are the King Codor and Glamis. So he was given those titles, all as the weird woman, as the witches had prophesied, as they had promised, that you have it all now. And I fear thou playest most foully for it. Okay, he's not talking to Macbeth. This is soliloquy. So soliloquy basically means that he is talking to himself. So these scenes would take place on the stage, and the characters would sometimes just talk to themselves. Nobody would be around them. So that is exactly what is going on. So thou hast it now, King Codor and Glamis, as the weird woman promised, and I fear that thou playest most foully for it. Foully as in you've done some very inappropriate means in order to achieve it. Yet it was said it should not stand in thy posterity, that is, it shall not, it shall not be inherited by your descendants, but that myself should be the root and the father of many kings. So it was believed that Banquo will be the one whose kids, whose descendants will be kings, which means he will be the fountain, the source, the root of all these kings of the future. And also there is a reference that is according to a popular legend, King James was Banquo's descendant. This is a reference, and if you add this to your answer, it will just improve the quality. Also, Act 3 is very important for your year, because in our year, we had more questions from Act 4 and 5, if I'm not wrong. Then, Act 3 will become very important. If there come truth from them, as upon thee, Macbeth, their speeches shine, why by the verities on thee made good, may they not be my oracles as well, and set me up in hope, but hush no more. So he's saying, if it may be true as upon thee, Macbeth, as it has come true on your part, that is, whatever the witches prophesies, if it is true as it has come on your part, then the witches' speeches shine, that is, they look favorable, by the verities on thee made good, as it has come favorably on your part. May they not be my oracles for it, and set me up in hope, but hush no more. That is, maybe something is going to happen, someone is coming, something like that. Senet sounded. Senet, it is a distinctive set of musical notes played on a trumpet to herald a specific individual. And then we have enter Macbeth as the king, Lady Macbeth as the queen, Lennox, Ross, lords, and attendants. So Macbeth says, here's our chief guest. So basically in this scenario, all the people are there. Macbeth is going to talk to his wife, and Banquo is also present here. So Macbeth is saying, here's our chief guest. Who is he calling the chief guest? Banquo, alright? Lady Macbeth. If he had been forgotten, then it would be like a gap in our feast. So I will basically be telling you the explanation that I have written, alright? So I'm not reading it out from the book anymore. I'm reading out the explanations that I have written so that you can read the book and then you can just listen to the explanation. So Lady Macbeth is saying that if he had been forgotten, if we had forgotten to invite the most important person, that is Banquo, then it would be like a gap in our feast, and all things unbecoming. That is, everything would seem very improper if we would have forgotten Banquo, because he's a very important person, right? Macbeth says, we shall have a solemn supper, that is a formal dinner tonight, and I request your presence. So he's requesting Banquo to attend that dinner. Banquo says, let your highnesses command upon me, and to which my duties are with an indissoluble tie forever. So he's saying that, like, you don't have to request me, like, I am forever, going to accept your commands. So stuff like that, just a very royal way of speaking. Then Macbeth says, "Will you ride this afternoon?" That is, he's already beginning to lay his plans. He wanted to murder he wanted to murder Banquo, right? So he's already being very, like vicious, and he's talking to Banquo. He's asking that, "Will you be riding? Like, are you going to travel this afternoon?" Banquo says, "Yes, my good lord." Macbeth says, "We should have else desired your good advice." So now he's trying to make up. कि उसने क्यों पूछा ये question कि are you going to travel? So he's now saying that we should have else desired your good advice, which is both grave and prosperous. That is, we would otherwise have asked for your advice, Banquo ka advice, which is both grave and prosperous, as in it is very serious. His advice is serious and also profitable. In the day's council, that is in the meeting of the privy council, but we'll settle that tomorrow. Is it far where you ride? Like, wherever you're going, is it very far? Banquo says, "It is far enough. That will fill up the time. The trip will take me from now till dinner, unless the horses ride faster than I expect, and I'll have to ride for an hour or two, that is 2 hours, after sunset or darkness." So as you can see, when I'm reading it out, the notes that I have, I am saying that I'm reading out the explanation, plus I'm using a few words. Like I said, he was going to ride for an hour or two, and then I have told you 2 hours. This was a word which is used in the Shakespearean language, twain. And then, if you are writing answers in English literature, if you use these words in double quotation marks, then it will just, the examiner will be impressed that you do know the Shakespeare, like you did read this drama, and you do know a few Shakespearean words here and there, which means that, there are many people who can just read summary and start making answers, really high quality answers, just by reading the summary. But what is the difference between them and you? That you actually read it, you actually understood the meaning, and you actually retained a few words here and there, and that is a difference which will set apart your answers to the rest. All right. Then, and while explaining, I'll keep on giving you these tips, so please make sure that you apply them as well. Macbeth says, "Fail not our feast," that please do not forget about our feast. Banquo says, "I will not, my lord." Macbeth says, "Are bloody," that is stained with Duncan's blood. Cousins, he's basically referring to Malcolm and Donalbain, that is the sons of Duncan. So he's saying that are bloody, like he's basically trying to pinpoint his sins, he committed the murder, but he's going to pinpoint that into like Malcolm and Donalbain. So he's saying that our bloody, that is stained with Duncan's blood, cousins have bestowed or have taken refuge in England and Ireland, and have not confessed to the cruel parricide, that is the heinous murder of their father, that is Duncan, filling their hearers with strange inventions, that is new invented tales. So since they did not confess, what happens? So everyone, when you share a secret, it will, then this person will share it to somebody else, and this person will share it to somebody else, and in the process, whatever you said will twist and turn so much that till the time it reaches to the last person, the topic will completely change, right? Filling their hearers, everyone that is hearing about these the two cousins, they are getting filled with strange inventions and new invented tales, as in new stories. They're hearing new stories every single time. We shall discuss about it tomorrow. So he's saying that we shall talk about it tomorrow, with affairs about the state that demand our joint attention. So with both of us, so both Banquo and Macbeth's attention is required. Go hurry to your horse. Go hurry. Adieu, and I'll see you tonight. Is Fleance going with you? So who's Fleance? Fleance is basically the son of Banquo. So Macbeth is also confirming that is Fleance going with you, because according to the prophecy, Banquo's descendants shall be king, which means if there is a very big obstacle here, it is Fleance as well, because Fleance might become the king after Macbeth, and he is a big obstacle on the way. So he's also trying to know where Fleance is going as well or not. Banquo says, "Yes, good lord, time calls upon," as in we are in a hurry. So Macbeth says to Banquo, "I wish your horses swift," that is they ride fast, "and sure of foot," that is sure-footed, "and thus I commend you to their backs," for horse riding basically, "farewell." Then he says to his servants, he's saying, "Let every man be a master of his time," that is be free to do what he wants till 7 at night, to make the society the sweeter welcome. So make preparations, do whatever you want to do, be free to do whatever till 7 at night, remember the time, to make the society the sweeter welcome, make the everything, preparations and everything. We'll keep to ourselves till then, supper time alone. So he's saying that I want to stay alone till the supper time. While then, God be with you. So that's over. Then he says, "Exeunt all except Macbeth and a servant." So over here, only Macbeth is there, and a servant is here. Sirrah, it is a condescending form of address for a social inferior. "Sirrah, a word with you. Attend those men our pleasure. Are those men waiting for our instructions?" Sirrah says, "Yes, sir. They are standing without, that is outside, our palace gate." Macbeth says, "Bring those men before us." The servant exits. Now again, Soliloquy. He's talking to himself. He says, "To be thus is nothing. It is nothing to be the king as I am right now." So he is the king right now. So he's saying it is nothing to be a king, but to be safety thus. That is, but I should be the king in safety. "Our fears in Banquo stick deep," that is, they are deeply rooted. Now, what does he mean when he says that I want, I need to be the king in safety? That is, right now, he is in a very fragile position of being a king. He can be overthrown any moment. According to the witches' prophecies, he will be the king, but, Banquo's descendants will overthrow him, right? So that means that his position as a king is very futile, very temporary, and that is why he is a king, but in constant stress, and he does not want that. He wants to have stability. He wants to have safety. So that is why he's saying that, but to be safely thus, but I should be the king in safety. Our fears in Banquo stick deep. That is, he's very afraid of Banquo. That is, they're deeply rooted. And in his royalty of nature, there's something about the nature of Banquo, right? Royalty of nature reigns that which would be fear. So there's something overpowering about the nature of Banquo that I should be afraid of. He dares. That is, he is a risk taker. And with his dauntless temper of his mind, that is unbreakable courage, he also has wisdom that doth guide the whaler. That is bravery. So he's brave. He has wisdom. Wisdom plus bravery. That's a absolute beastly combination. So the wisdom will tell him how to use his bravery and act confidently, to act in safety. There is none but he whose being I do fear, and under him my genius, that is my guiding spirit, is rebuked, as Mark Antony's was by Caesar. Now here's a small reference. So Mark Antony was told by a soothsayer that his guiding spirit or the genius. So everybody has a guiding spirit or a genius according to the Christian ideology, right? Everybody has a guiding spirit. However, it is not powerful enough. So according to this reference, Mark Antony was the guiding spirit of Mark Antony was not powerful enough to oppose that of Octavius Caesar. And then they have given the reference, like the source of this reference. They said that see Antony and Cleopatra, chapter 2, 3:20 verses 3. He also chided, reproved the weird sisters. That is, the weird sisters, when they hailed me as the king. So when the weird sisters were there, so there was Macbeth and Banquo. The weird sisters were prophesying about Macbeth, and they were saying that she would be the king and this and that. And Banquo, he he was like, what about me? Like, what will I do? So that's exactly what he's reminding us of. He's saying that he also chided or reproved the weird sisters, that is the witches, when they hailed me as the king and bade them, that is, forced them to speak to him. Then prophet-like, they hailed him as a father to a line of kings. Upon me they placed a fruitless crown and put a barren scepter in my gripe, that is, grasp or grip, thence to be wrenched with an unlineal hand, not in my line of descent. No son of mine succeeding. If it be so, for Banquo's issues I have defiled my mind. For him, gracious Duncan has been murdered, but rancors, that is, ill feelings, in the vessel, that is, drinking vessel, chalice of my peace, only for them to be the kings, the seeds of Banquo kings. So the seeds of Banquo kings, right, like as in referring to his descendants, I have given up my eternal jewel. See, once you murder a person, your sense of peace is absolutely shattered, right? Your soul is in constant anxiousness, stress, worry. There is pain, anxiety. There is so much of regret and remorse. So he is saying that my eternal jewel, everyone, the valuable, the priceless jewel that everyone has, that is invaluable jewel rather, it is the immortal soul that we possess. So the purity of the soul shall always be maintained. And for Macbeth, he has lost that. To the enemy of every man, that is referring to devil. Rather, let fate come into the list, let fate come into combat like a medieval knight into the torment, and champion me to the utterance, that is, challenge me to a deadly combat. And while he's talking all this nonsense, the servant enters. So the servant who left, now he's coming back, and he returns back with two men, right? Two murderers. To the servant he says, go to the door and stay there until we call. So he basically shoos him away so that all these matters is going to be very private, that they are going to talk. To the murderers he says, was it not yesterday that we spoke together? So he's asking that to the murderers. Now the following lines that I'm going to explain is very, 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 very important. Alright, you need to know, what did the murderers say and what did Macbeth ask, how did Macbeth manipulate them, all these points. You need to know all these points because any type of question can be asked from this. Like anything can be asked from this. All right. So murderers, he says that it was so please your highness. Macbeth says, well then, now have you considered my speeches? So basically they already had a conversation before this, and now he's saying that have you considered what I had already told you? Know that it was he. So he's already starting to manipulate these murderers. He's saying that no, that it was he, that is Banquo, who placed you so under fortune. That is, it was Banquo who placed you much below of what you deserved, which you did thought our innocent self. That is, you thought that I did it. Like the murderers thought that Macbeth was the one who did it since he was the king. But I was innocent. I made good. That is, I have explained in our last conference, in our last meeting, I've already explained to you about all these things. I have demonstrated, past in probation, that is, I have proved and demonstrated how you were born in hand, that is, how you were deceived, deliberately misled, how crossed, that is, frustrated. The instruments, that is, the means that were used, that wrought or worked with him, and all the things that even half a soul, that is, mind, of a notion, intellect, crazed would say, did Banquo. So he's saying that even someone who does not have a mind, who does not have the intellect, someone who's crazy, even he will say that all this was done by Banquo. So he's basically gaslighting. He's basically manipulating at the finest. So yeah, that's what he does. And the first murderer says, you've made it known to us, sir. We know that. Macbeth says, I did so and went further. So he's saying, I not only made this clear, plus I went further, which is the point for our second meeting. And that is why we are having a second meeting. Is patience so predominant in your nature? Now imagine the level of manipulation that is going on. So he's trying to ignite the anger in these people, so that the murderers are angry and have personal grudge against, the Banquo, so that they can actually attack him even more viciously and violently. So he's saying, I did so and went further, which is the point for our second meeting. Is patience. So he's questioning the murderers, that is patience so predominant in your nature? Like, are you such a patient person? Like, is your character so patient? Like, back in the day, if you were someone who was like very patient and you just let go of things, you don't take, because everyone was so egoistic back then that even a small matter could lead to a complete war. But that is why he's trying to, pinpoint about his character. He's like, is patience so predominant in your nature that you can let this go? Like this man, Banquo, who did not understand your value, who just misused you, who was just so disrespectful of you, who used so many instruments in order to devalue you, you're just going to let this man go? Are you so gospeled? All right, this is influenced by the teaching of the Christian doctrines, that is, love your enemies, bless them who curse you, do good to them who hate you, pray for them who despitefully use and persecute you. This has been taken from Matthew chapter 5 verses 44. So in the Bible we have four different, let's say, Gospels, so Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. So over here it has been taken from Matthew chapter 5 verses 44. So he's saying to pray for the good man and for his issue whose heavy hand had bowed you down to your grave. So he's saying that you're praying for the good man. That is, he's being very sarcastic, so he's using the term good. So you're praying for the good man, as in you're praying for Banquo, and for his issue, like for Banquo's issue, whose heavy hand, as in, his heavy hand had bowed you down to your early grave, that is early death, right? And beggared, that is made your entire family beggars forever, right? If let's say these men die, then their families will become beggars, because let's say back in the day the men were the sole breadwinners, so obviously the family will go absolutely beggars and they'll starve. The first murderer says, we are men, my liege. Yet again, I told you that he's basically trying to play with their anger and emotions and trying to pinpoint their character, and that is why the first murderer says, we are men, my liege. Like, we are men. We are in fact, we are angry at whatever has happened. Okay, my liege, as in my lord. Macbeth says, A in the catalogue, ye go for men. This means you are considered men in any general category of creatures, just like different breeds of dogs are considered under the name dogs. A more valuable list is the one which includes the precise qualities according to the natural abilities of the animals. This provides individual description, that is particular addition, which is distinct from the inventory or the bill, which considers them all alike. Same is for men. So basically he's comparing these men to dog. Yet again, his choice of words are he's playing such a psychological tactic right now, because his choice of words are actually so specific. He's saying that even dog, all these animals, the different breeds of dogs are all considered as dog, but we're going to exaggerate a lot. So he's saying that as hounds, greyhounds, mongrels, spaniels, curs, chows, I'm sorry if I mispronounce anything, which is a kind of a lapdog, water rug, that is a long-haired retriever, useful in water, demi-wolves, crossbreeds of wolves and dogs, all these are the names of dogs, all right? They are all called, that is clept or called, all by the name of dogs. The valued file that distinguishes, so the valued file, what is the thing that, distinguishes these different breeds? The qualities are swift, that is fast, slow, subtle, housekeeper, that is it is a domestic guard dog, and hunter, everyone, which the gift of the beauteous nature hath in him closed, whereby he does receive particular additions. So everyone has some quality in them or not. Some let's say a dog is very fast, let's say a dog is very loyal, let's say one has some particular addition from the bill that consider them all alike. So of men, so same goes to men. Now if you have a station, that if you do have a position or rank, so now he's again trying to manipulate them. He's saying that if you have some, then like let's say in today's context, he's basically talking like this. If you have some self-respect, if you have some position or rank in your life, then tum aisa behave nahi karoge. That is the way he's talking. Okay, so he's like, so of men, now if you have a station, that is position or rank in the file, not in the worst rank of manhood, say then I shall put the business in your bosom, whose execution takes your enemy off. So I will let you know the plan secretly, which when carried out helps to remove our enemy. Grapples, that is fasten you firmly to our affection, to the heart and love of us, like grappling irons, right? Who wears, that is Macbeth using clothing, he's using clothing metaphors. Our health, so who wears our health? So he's saying that our health, like Banquo, as long as he's existing, it is like we are not happy, we are not healthy. He's wearing our health and but sickly in his life. So like sickly, as long as he's alive, we are sick, which in his death were perfect. So if he dies, we shall be perfect, our health will be perfect. But as long as he is alive, we shall be sick. Second murderer says, I am one man, like I am one, that is a man, my liege, my lord, whom the wild blows and buffets of the world had so incensed that I am reckless of what I do to spite the world. To spite the world, I am so angry due to the beatings that the world has given me that I don't care of what I do furthermore. First murderer says, and I am another man, my liege, my lord, who is so weary of the disasters, that is the bad luck, tagged with fortune at the mercy of fate, that I would set my life on any chance to mend it, that is to improve, or to rid on it, that is to risk it. Macbeth says, both of you know Banquo was your enemy. Murderer says, true, my lord. Over here, when they say true, my lord, this means that they have been completely brainwashed, completely manipulated, and this means that Macbeth was successful in absolutely psychologically tricking them, and yeah, so messed up. Macbeth says, so is he mine, and in such bloody distance that dissension, disagreement, leading to discord, that every minute of his being thrusts like a fencer's sword. So he's having so much issues. Firstly, he says that his existence, like he's wearing our health, and then he's saying that I cannot stay in such a distance. Like he's so close to us, he should just die at this point, right? That every minute of his being, like his existence, thrusts like a fencer's sword. A fencer's sword. It's like his existence is like a sword to the nearest of my life. It's like a sword to his vital organs. Right? That I myself could with a bare-faced power swipe him from my side, that is kill him without a reason. So he says, I'm the king, I can kill him without a reason. And let my will avouch it, and I can just say that I just wanted to kill him, so I killed him. Because he's the king, he can do whatever he wants. And tell that I did because I wanted to, yet I must not, because we have mutual or common friends whose love I may not drop. So he's saying that if it was in my part, he's saying that I do have the power and the privilege to actually kill him, but I shall not, because we have common friends, and if I end up killing him, then they will start hating me for that, and I cannot drop the love of the others because of him. So but I shall wail or grieve. So he's saying that I shall wail, that is he shall cry and grieve, in his fall, that is in his death, whom I myself have struck down. That is, I know that I am planning his murder and I am going to strike him down, I am going to kill him, but I need to cry and grieve his death so that the others are not suspicious, since they are the mutual friends, right? Hence, I have come to your assistance that makes love. That is why I've come to your assistance. I've come to talk to you, murderer, so that, you help me out in my desire of killing Banquo. Come to your head, making the plan from the common eye, masking the plan from the common eye for sundry weighted reasons. There is a variety of different reasons. So we need to mask this entire plan, that this plan needs to be, it should be performed very privately, very secretly. Nobody from, like, the public or the ordinary masses should not get to know about it because of a variety of different reasons. Sundry means variety, okay? Second murderer says, we shall, my lord, perform just as you command us, right? First murderer says, though our lives. So he's saying, like, though our lives. Macbeth says, your spirits shine through you, the strength, the spirit that you have, it is shining through you, and he's just trying to encourage them, motivate them so that they perform even better to murder Banquo. He's saying, your spirits shine through you. Within this hour at most, I shall advise you where to plant yourself and acquaint you to the perfect spy of the time. So he is going to tell them where to plant yourself, as in where you should hide, where you should attempt the murder. He will also tell the perfect spy of the time, as in he will tell the best time for the murder, moment on it, for it must be done tonight. He wants to get it over with tonight, right? And something that is some distance from the palace must be thought, that is, must be remembered. I require clearness. He says that you must maintain some distance from the palace, and also he says that I require clearness, as in Macbeth should not fall in trouble of this murder. Nobody should come to know that he's related to this murder. So he said that I require clearness to be kept in the clear, free from all suspicion, and with him there shall be no rubs, no mistakes or impediments, nor botches, that is, bunglings in the work. And for his son Fleance, who gives him company, whose absence is no less material to me, who must embrace the fate of the dark hour, whose death is also very important. In fact, his death is more important than Banquo, in my opinion, because Banquo was not prophesied to be the king. Macbeth was prophesied to be the king. But Fleance is the one. Fleance is the descendant of Banquo, and according to the prophecy, Banquo's descendants will be kings. So which means Fleance is direct, competition for Macbeth. And that is why he is a very big obstacle on his way of, on becoming the king. Then he says, resolve yourselves apart, that is, make up your minds about the additional murder, that is, of Fleance, in private. I'll come to you soon, anon. Murder says, we are resolved, my lord. Macbeth says, I'll call upon you straight, that is, urgently. Abide within. The murderers exit. And now yet again in soliloquy, he's saying that it's concluded then, Banquo, thy soul's flight, if it might find a place in heaven, it must find it tonight. So he is saying that, Banquo, you're gone. You're such a gone case. Whatever will happen, it will happen tonight. And if your soul is going to find a place in heaven, it should find it tonight, which means you will be killed tonight. That's it. Then Act 3, Scene 2, a short summary to the scene is, Lady Macbeth is also uneasy, and Macbeth assures her that he shall take some action, but refuses to tell her more. The scene takes place in Inverness, in Macbeth's castle. Enter Lady Macbeth with the servant. So Lady Macbeth says, is Banquo gone from the court? Servant says, yes, madam. He returns tonight. He returns tonight. It's a very ironical line, because we all know what was planned in the first scene, that is, he will be murdered. So it is an ironical line. So, okay, Lady Macbeth says, say to the king, as in say to Macbeth, I shall attend to his leisure for a few words. So I shall go and talk to him for a few words. Servant says, madam, I will. Lady Macbeth says, now she's talking in soliloquy, she's talking to herself, she's saying, we have gained nothing but rather lost everything when we are not satisfied with what we have received. So here Lady Macbeth expresses her contradicting emotions. She's already become the queen, but she is dissatisfied because because she has lost her peace of mind. That is a precious jewel. That is something very invaluable, right? She has lost the peace of her mind, her innocence, and also her eternal jewel or immortal soul, because she was the one who committed the murder, right, with her husband, that is Macbeth. It is safer to be the one that we destroy. So she's now regretting her actions. She's saying that it would rather be better to be destroyed than to be someone who causes the destruction, right? So she's saying that it is better to be the one that we destroy than by destruction live in doubtful joy. So doubtful joy, as in these are two different contradicting emotions used together. So this is a oxymoron, right? So basically she's trying to say it is better to be the one that is killed than to be living in fear and insecurity for killing a person. Then while she is talking in soliloquy, Macbeth enters. And then she says, how now, my lord, why do you keep, that is, stay alone, with the sorriest fancies, that is, sad thoughts, that keep you company, using those that should have died with the subject, that is Duncan, when he was being killed. So she's saying that, why are you having such sad thoughts? Those sad thoughts should have died while, you were killing Duncan. It should have died in the process. You shall not be sad right now. She's trying to encourage her husband, and just imagine, it's so sweet because she's herself very stressed. So she's trying to, convince her husband. She's saying, using those that should have died with the subject, that is Duncan, when he was being killed. You shall not think about the things that cannot change. That is, there is no remedy to it. Don't think about the things that cannot change. What is done is done. Macbeth says, we have scorched, that is, scored, notched, slashed the snake, not killed it. So Macbeth refers Duncan to as the snake. Who shall close, that is, recover or heal, and shall come back for vengeance, revenge, and we will again be threatened by its fan. Okay, I don't think Macbeth is referring to Duncan as the snake, because he's saying that he has slashed the snake, right? Nonetheless, we'll understand whom is he referring to. And shall come back for vengeance or revenge, and we will again be threatened by its fangs or former tooth, referring to its power. Let the frame of things universe disjoint, that is, let the frame of things the universe disjoint and fall apart, and the two worlds referring to heaven and hell suffer, that is, collapse, before we eat our meals in fear and affliction of the terrible dreams or the nightmares that shake us nightly. Now this is it's symbolizing that they are in fact having nightmares because they killed a man. So the regret of the human heart is so powerful, that is, they are actually continuously having these scary pictures and imageries every single night, and that is why he's so stressed and he's so done with everything that he is kind of cursing. He's saying that the world fall apart before we have such terrible dreams, before we have our meals in fear. The lines which just recently Lady Macbeth said, he's saying that it is better to be dead, whom we in order to gain peace have sent to peace. So he's saying that it would rather be better that if we were dead, like the way Duncan is dead right now. So he's saying that we have killed him so that we have sent him to peace in order to gain peace, but just the opposite happened. Then the torture of the mind in restless ecstasy, in anxiety and depression. Duncan is dead after life's fitful fever, he sleeps well. Treason has done the worst, nor steel nor poison, malice domestic, foreign Levi, nothing can touch him further. So he's saying that treason, treachery, it has done the worst. Like, what they have done, it is the worst. Nothing can bring back Duncan, everything is over, nothing can touch him further. So Duncan is gone. Lady Macbeth says, now since Macbeth is talking such stressful and negative conversation, so Lady Macbeth says, come on, gentle my lord, sleek, that is smooth over your rugged thoughts, be bright and jovial amongst your guests tonight. So she's saying that be happy, be jovial, be joyful in front of your guests. Your guests should not come to know that you are so stressed, or else they will start being suspicious of you. Macbeth says, so shall I love, and so do I pray you. So he's saying, I will, in fact, love. Like, he's talking to her romantic partner, right? To his wife. So he's saying that I will, in fact, and even you should act normal. Let your remembrance, that is attention, apply to Banquo. Provide him eminence or importance from your eyes and tongue, that is the way you look at him and the words you speak to him. In these insecure times we shall wash, that is lave our royal titles in floods of flattery to make them appear more royal, and make our faces wizards. So he's basically saying that, asking Lady Macbeth to make his face a wizard, that is, put on a mask, like stress, they're anxious, they're angry, they're also very sad, and they are remorseful. So there's so many sad and negative emotions going on, but he is saying that, put on a mask, put on wizards. What is wizard? It is basically mask, a part of the helmet that covers the face. So wizards of the heart, so the emotions that is going on in the heart, that shouldn't be shown on the face, disguising what they are, that is hiding our treacherous feelings in our hearts and not letting that reflect on our face. Lady Macbeth says, you must leave this, that is, stop thinking like this. Macbeth says, my mind is full of scorpions, stings or leads to excruciating pain. Dear wife, Banquo and his fiancé lives. Lady Macbeth says, but in them nature's copy, not eternal, that is, it is not eternal. She says that Banquo and fiancé are not immortal, and not that, and also that natural life does not hold an eternal copyright on Banquo and fiancé. She's saying that they're not eternal, they're not immortal, they will die someday. They don't have a nature's copyright that, I'm going to stay forever. They will die. So stop taking so much stress. Macbeth says, there's comfort yet, there's still a little bit of comfort. Yet as they are assailable, that is, they can still be assaulted and attacked, I still have the potential to do that. Then thou or you be jocund, that is merry, before the bat had flown its cloistered flight around the cloisters covered walls with side openings. Before the dung beetle, shard-born beetle, responds to the calls of the darkness. So before all these things happen, he shall be killed. That is, Banquo shall be killed. So before the bat takes the flight, before the dung beetle responds to the calls of darkness as in black Hecate's hummings, which are similar to the evening curfew bell, putting the yawning peal, that is the yawning people, night's peal, to sleep, there shall be done a deed of dreadful note. So remember these points. What are the things, like before what events will Banquo die? So before the bat takes the cloistered flight, before the dung beetle responds to black Hecate's hummings and all that, before all that, Banquo will be done. Banquo will be killed. Lady Macbeth says, what's to be done, what will be done. So now she is unaware about this plan, right? So she's not understanding. She's saying, what's to be done, what will be done. Macbeth says, be innocent, as in, you are unaware about it, so stay unaware about it, be innocent. It is better not knowing of the knowledge until you can applaud, that is, celebrate the deed. So he's saying it is better that you are unaware about what is going to happen until you can actually celebrate what is going to happen, right? Until you can actually celebrate the deed. Come sealing, that is stitching up, like in falconry, it refers to sewing up a young bird's eyelids as a process of training. Scarf up, that is blindfold the tender eye of the pitiful day, and with thy bloody and invisible hand cancel and tear into pieces the great bond. This great bond, he is referring to the bond between Banquo and his son Fleance, which keeps me pale, that is, their existence is keeping me pale, as in restrained. Refers to the boundary dividing one country's territory from the next. Light thickens, or it's becoming dark, and the crows makes wings to the rooky roots, referring to the rooks, a kind of black bird, visually identical to a crow. When the good things begin to droop and drowse, and the night's black agents arouse, that is, wake up, and the night's black agents wake up to hunt their prey. So while he's saying all this nonsense, like, it will be night, and there'll be darkness, and there'll be crows and this and that, all that stupid things. Lady Macbeth is like utterly shocked. What is this man talking about? And then Macbeth says, "You look marvelous, like as in, you look shocked at my words. But you shall continue to do whatever you were doing. So just go back to your day, do whatever you were doing. Things that have begun with evil will become stronger with evil." So he's saying that the thing that started with evil, that is with the murder of Duncan, it is something evil, something negative, which started with evil will only keep on getting worse and worse, and will in fact, it will become more stronger. That is, the evil, the negativity will become just more stronger. So Prithvi as in please come with me, and then they exit. Scene 3. Short summary: Banquo is murdered, Fleance escapes. I think this is a very short one. So first, the scene takes place some distance from Macbeth's castle. Enter 3 murderers. So first murderer says, who did bid thee to join with us? So now basically, what we know is that the murder happened, the plan of the murder was given to only 2 people, 2 men, 2 murderers. But over here, 3 murderers enter, which means Macbeth has such great trust issues. Like, he has such difficulty to believe even these 2 men who he successfully manipulated, but still his inner feelings, he just does not want to risk anything at this point. So he also hired a 3rd murderer to keep a track on these other 2 murderers so that they don't back off. And that's why the 3rd murderer is here. First murderer says, who did bid thee join with us? Like, who told you to join us? 3rd murderer says, Macbeth. Second murderer says, but there is no need to mistrust us. So why is he mistrusting us? Even they are shocked that why is he mistrusting us? We literally accepted whatever he commanded us to do. Since he delivers us our offices, he's the one who gave us our duties. What we have to do with to the direction, just exactly. So whatever he told us, the directions, we are exactly doing that. Why did he mistrust us? Why is he sending you? The first murderer says to the 3rd murderer, then stay with us. So they're done. They're like, okay, stay with us. So he's saying, then stay with us. The west yet glimmers. So, the sun is setting, and he's saying that the west is still kind of glimmering a little bit, with some streaks of light, like it's almost settled, right? Referring to the streaks of light from the sunset. Now spurs the later travelers, that is the people who are late, now they are, hastily returning back home. Travelers apace, they are hurrying, increasing their pace or speed to gain the timely inn, that is to reach the inn in time, that is to reach their home at time. And near approaches the subject of our watch, and finally our subject of the watch, like this, the main person for whom we are waiting here, he is approaching. 3rd murderer says, hark, I hear the horses. So he's saying that now I hear the horses. Banquo says, give me a torch, ho. Second murderer says, then it is he, because all the others on the note of expectation, that is expected guests, are already in the court. So yes, the second murderer says that I think it is Banquo, because everyone else who was called to the banquet, remember, Banquo was invited to a supper, to a dinner and everything. So there were others invited as well, and all the invited guests are already in the court. So the only one left is probably Banquo. So first murderer says, the horses shall go for a long way around till they reach the stable. Now what happened back in the day was, like, the horses, right, once they travel such long distances, they are sweating, and they're also very tired, but like their body was in such long action, so they need to cool down a bit. And that is why whoever would ride those horses, they would come down and they would take their horse on a long walk, so that the horses can cool down before they can keep their horse in the stable. That is exactly what the first murderer is saying. He's saying that the horses shall go for a long way. Even after entering the palace, they have to go a long way to cool down the horse till they reach their stable. Third murderer says almost a mile. So they need to cool down the horse by making the horse walk for a mile from hence to the palace gate, where, like, Banquo usually, like any other man, has to walk. So it does not matter the Banquo is in such a high rank official, still even he has to make the horses walk and make them cool down. So after a long journey, the horses would be sweating, and it was necessary for the grooms, that is to take them for a walk in order to cool them down before taking them to their stable. Now enter Banquo and Fleance with a torch. Second murderer says, a light, a light. Third murderer says, it is he, that is, it is Banquo. First murderer says, stand to it, that is, get ready. Banquo says, it will rain tonight. So Banquo is basically talking to his son Fleance. He's unaware of these 3 murderers. So Banquo is saying, I think it will rain tonight, And first murderer says, let it come down, then let it rain, and then the 3 murderers attack, right? So Banquo was talking to his son, he's saying, I think it will rain tonight, and the first murderer says that, okay, then let it rain, and then they attack him, right? And the first murderer strikes out Banquo's light. Banquo says, O treachery, fly, good Fleance, fly, fly, fly. Thou mayest revenge to the murderers, O slave, O you villains. So he told his son that you run away as any parent would do, He told the murderers, you slaves, you villains, you treacherous beings. So Banquo dies and Fleance escapes. Oops, Fleance escaped. So sad, because Fleance is the main obstacle, and as the witches prophesied, it means that he will in fact stay alive, and he will in fact overthrow Macbeth, right? Third murderer says, who did strike out the light? First murderer says, was it not the way? Was it not how we planned? Third murderer says, there's but one down, referring to Banquo's body. So he's saying that only one is down, that is, one has been killed, only Banquo has been killed, and the fiance has escaped, and the son or fiance has fled. Second murderer says, we have lost the best half of our affair. That is, we have lost the best, like the most important, crucial part of our affair, as in the mission. First murderer says, let's away, that is, get out of here, and say or inform Macbeth how much we have managed to accomplish. So let's just get out of here and first inform Macbeth of what we have accomplished. Exhumed all three murderers with Banquo's body. Now we come to Act 3, Scene 4. A short summary to the scene is, Macbeth and his wife welcome their guests to their state banquet. The ghost of Banquo appears, but only Macbeth can see it, and his strange behavior startles his wife and his guests. The scene takes place in the banqueting hall. The banquet is prepared. Two thrones are placed on the stage. Enter Macbeth as the king, Lady Macbeth as the queen, Ross, Lennox, lords, and attendants. Lady Macbeth sits. Okay. So the banquet is prepared, as they had already planned that this is going to happen. The dinner is going to take place, so the banquet is prepared. There's an elaborate arrangement of fruit, sweets, wine, a full state dinner. Imagine it's a royal dinner, so everything is prepared. Macbeth says, you know your own degrees, that is, you know your social ranks, that will determine the seating order. So, you know, everyone has a seating order, that this person is of a higher social rank, he'll be sitting here. This person is of a lower social rank, he'll be sitting over here, like stuff like that. So you know your ranks, sit accordingly. Sit down from the highest to the lowest, to one and all, my hearty welcome. Lords, sit down. Lords say, thank you, your majesty. It says, ourselves, that is, I will mingle with the society and be the humble host. So Macbeth, he's trying to be very, humble, and he's saying that I'll be the humble host. Our hostess, referring to his wife, shall keep her state, that is, she'll be seated in her throne, but in best time we shall require her welcome. That is, he's saying that right now she will be seated, but in some time we will require her welcome as well. Lady Macbeth says, pronounce it for me, sir, to all our friends, for my heart speaks, they are welcome. So she's asking her husband, that is Macbeth, please, she's saying that, sir, please tell everybody that they are most welcome from my side. Enter the first murderer. Now what is going on is that while they are talking, the first murderer enters, not in the main court, alright? He just enters and catches the attention, like he's hiding and he's like kind of trying to get Macbeth's attention, like, you know, he's hiding and trying to call, so that, because it should not be a public affair, nobody should know that the murderers are here, right? So enter the first murderer and catches the attention of Macbeth. However, he is not visible to the guests. Macbeth says, see that they encounter, respond. Okay, so now he's responding to his wife, like, you know, what she said. She said that please tell everybody that they are welcome. So he's responding to his wife. He's saying that, see that they encounter, that see that everybody responds with their hearts, thanks. Both sides are even. He says that both sides of the table have equal number of men. This is a very important point. You should know that while he is leaving, there are equal number of men sitting on both sides. I shall sit in the midst. He will sit in, in the midst. Be large in mirth, that is, be large in happiness and amusement. Anon, that is soon. We shall drink a measure, the table round. So we shall drink a toast with each person around the table. So everyone will take a toast, right, around the table. Now he had already seen the murderer, so he very nicely, he tells everyone that, okay, I will meet you soon. I'll just go and I'll just come very quickly. So once I come back, then we'll take a toast, and then he leaves. So he basically saw the first one. Now he's leaving, and now he'll go and talk to the murderer, to the first murderer, so that only he can hear it. There's blood upon thy face. So he's saying that there is blood in your face. What are you doing, stupid? So then he's saying, the first murderer says, it is Banquo's then. Like, if there's blood on my face, then it is Banquo's. Macbeth says, his blood is better on your face than his life blood still coursing in his veins. Is he dispatched, that is he dealt with, that is killed? First murderer says that his throat has been slit and that I did it for him. So remember what kind, just know a few description of the type of murder that has been done to Banquo. So his throat has been slit, right? And the first murderer says that I did it for him. So they might ask you that who slit the throat of Banquo. You can say that the first murderer did that. Macbeth says, you are the best of the cutthroats. Yet he is as good who did the same to Fleance. So now he's asking that you are very good, you're the best of the cutthroats, but the person who killed Fleance is just as good. So who did the same to Fleance? But if thou did it, thou art the non-parial, I don't know. That is, he's saying that if you are the one who killed both Banquo and Fleance, then nobody, you are like unmatched. Nobody can match to your level. Nobody can be compared to you. You are so, powerful. The first murderer says, most royal sir, Fleance escaped. Macbeth says, there comes my fit and fear again. I had else been perfect, whole as a marble, founded as a rock, solid as a marble and firm as a rock, as broad and gentle as the casing air, that is free and unconfined as the air surrounding us. But now I am cabined, cribbed, crumpled into a small space, up in a stall, confined up into saucy, that is distracting, intrusive doubts and fears. But Banquo is safe. First murderer says he's safe in the ditch he bides, that is he's buried. 20 trenches, that is hacked out gashes in his head, least death in nature. So let's say if you do one like trench or gash on the head, it is enough to khel khatam karne ke liye. But over here, 20 times he did that to Banquo. So that is what he's saying. He's saying least death in nature. So matlab smallest, agar ek baar hi karne se mar jata wo, but I did it 20 times to make sure that he is absolutely dead. Alright, smallest of which would be sufficient to kill a man. Macbeth says, thanks for that. The grown serpent, that is referring to Banquo. Grown serpent, the grown snake, he's referring to Banquo, lies in the ditch. So he is dead, he's lying in the ditch. The worm has fled. So the serpent, that is the Banquo, has been killed, but the worm, like the kid, that is Fleance, he has fled, referring to Fleance. Nature in no time will have in him venom breed. So now he's a worm. We can kill him, like right now he's very easy to be killed, but he says that in no time nature will have him venom breed, like he'll become poisonous very soon because we have killed his father. So the anger, the hatred, the vengeance, the spirit of revenge will breed poison in him, and he'll be full of negativity and toxicity. But he is harmless as of now. No teeth, as in no fangs for the present. Get thee gone, tomorrow we'll hear ourselves again, meet again. And the first murderer exits. Lady Macbeth, she comes to her husband and she says, my royal lord, why don't you give the cheer? Why are you not entertaining the guests? The banquet is no less than a meal. So now she's saying that why are you not entertaining the guests? Now she's going to compare his behavior to something. So she's saying that the banquet is no less than a meal that is paid for. So she's saying banquet is no less, like what is the difference between a banquet and a meal that we go and have in a restaurant? So paid for, as in you pay for that meal. Unless during the feasting, like while we are feasting, while we are having the meal, the guests are often reminded how welcome they are. So the difference between a banquet and that of let's say a paid meal is that when you pay for a meal, you just get the meal, right? But when you are in a banquet, the host should always make the guests feel welcome, that he should always express his gratitude and say that thank you for coming to my banquet, thank you for visiting, and just make them feel welcomed and loved, and give that warmth energy, right? So guests are often reminded of how welcome they are. It is better to eat at home, but the social rituals of courtesy in any social gatherings or formal occasion act as sauce on the meat. So let's say if you only have the meat, it will be dry and tasteless, but the sauce on the meat is what adds the flavor. Similarly, in social gatherings, if you just come to eat the food, that's nothing great, but it's the effort from the side of the host to make the people feel entertained and welcome. That is what exactly is like the sauce on the meat. Which word bear without it? Enter the ghost of Banquo and sits in Macbeth's place. This is a very important part because Banquo's ghost is appearing. Since Banquo is dead, right? So the ghost is appearing. So who can see it? Only Macbeth can see it because he's the one who committed the crime. Nobody else did. Nobody else will be able to see such a negative spirit. Only Macbeth will, because he's the one who planned it all. Macbeth is talking to his wife. He's saying, sweet remembrancer, thank you for reminding me. Good digestion requires good appetite, and good health requires both these things. Ross says, his absence, sir, lays blame upon his promise. May it please your highness's grace us with your royal company. Macbeth says, the table is full. So remember when Macbeth was leaving, he said that there are equal men in both the sides. Then he says, now the table is full. How is it possible? I was about to sit in the middle. How is the table full? Lennox says, here's a place reserved for you, sir. So he's pointing at the place. He's saying that here is the place, sir. And Macbeth says, where? Because Macbeth cannot see the place. It is already occupied. Right? Lennox says, here, my good lord. What is it that moves or bothers your highness? So while Lennox is showing, here, my good lord, Macbeth looks shocked, right? He's just shocked at what Lennox is pointing. Which of you have done this? Lord says, what, my good lord? Macbeth says, thou can't say I did it. Never shake thy gory locks at his bloody head at me. Ross is now scared. Ross says to the other gentlemen out there, he says, gentlemen, rise. His highness is not well. Like, let's just rise and leave because, like, his highness is not well, right? Lady Macbeth joins the lord. So Lady Macbeth was not here. She again joins the lord. Macbeth, she's trying to manage everything, and she's like, sit, worthy friends. My husband is often like this and often has been like this since his youth. So please sit. This is just a momentary fit. Like, this behavior is very temporary. And upon a thought that is as fast as you can think of it, he will again be well. But if you note him, that is, if you look at him or observe him, you shall offend him and extend his passion, prolong the fit. Feed and regard him not. Have your meal and do not pay attention to him. So she's just saying that ignore him. It is just a very temporary behavior that he's showing. Ignore him. And please have your meal. Then to Macbeth, she went to Macbeth and she's saying, are you a man? Like, are you even a man? Look at the behavior that you're showing. Like, are you a man? And Macbeth is saying, yes, and a bold one. That dare look on that which might appall the devil. So he is saying that I am a man because I'm still standing here. Imagine you're looking at a ghost in a room full of people. None of them can see it, but you can clearly see that ghost. And anyone would be afraid and they would be frightened and they would, fled away. They would fled the scene, right? But he's still standing there. So he's saying that I am a man. I'm standing here because the sight that I can see, it would scare the devil himself, right? So Lady Macbeth says, oh, proper stuff, absolute rubbish. It is just a painting, it's just an image, it's just an imagination of your fear, like the air-drawn dagger. So she's saying, like, just the way you had imagined the air-drawn dagger is just an image, please stop it. Which led you to Duncan. Oh, these flaws, these bursts of passion and starts, that is startled movements, imposters, like they're the imposters of false imitation, of true fear. Would well become a woman's story. She's saying that this will become a woman's story near the winter fire, authorized by her grandma. That is an old woman's tale for the winter evening along the fireside. So she's saying whatever you're saying, it's like an old woman's tale near a fireside. This is not real. This is all images. You're just it is just sudden bursts of passion that you're having. Shame on you. Why do you make such faces? Why are you making such faces? So, while she's saying all these things, he's looking at the ghost and he's like, scared. He's making such faces. So she's saying, shame on you. Why are you making such faces? when your hallucinations is over, you shall see that you were looking at none but the stool. So she's saying that you were just looking at the seat, right? You're just looking at the seat. When your hallucination is over, you realize you're just looking at the seat. But nobody knows that he's actually looking at Banquo's ghost, right? So he's looking at Banquo's ghost sitting on that seat, which was occupied for him. So that is why he's looking at that seat. Beth says, please see there, behold. So like he's asking his wife, please see there. To the ghost, he's saying, hey, what do you have to say? Why do I care? If you can nod, like basically Banquo's ghost is nodding, right? So Macbeth is saying, if you can nod, then speak. If the charnel houses walls or graves, so basically if the walls or graves shall send back the bodies that we have buried, then the only places for burial of the bodies, monuments, are the stomachs, maws of the carrion flesh-eating birds. So he's saying that if we are burying the bodies and the bodies are returning back from the graves, it's no point burying them. Then we shall just give the bodies to these, carnivorous flesh-eating birds, right? And while he's saying all this, Banquo's ghost exits. Lady Macbeth says, what quite unmanned and folly. So she compares her husband's manhood. Okay, she's not even comparing, like she's like literally questioning her man's manhood. Macbeth says, if I stand here, I saw him. All right. Lady Macbeth says, fie for shame. Like, shame on you. Macbeth says, in the olden times, before the humane laws cleansed the commonwealth, much blood had been shed. Since then, murders have been committed. So she's saying that from a long time, murders have been committed too. In such a heinous way, murders have been committed that is terrible even for the ear to listen to it, right? Difficult to mention it. Earlier, when a person knocked out a man's brains, it would be an end. So as they already mentioned, they had 20 trenches of gashes on Banquo's head, which means his brains were out. So he's saying earlier when a person knocked out a man's brain, it would be an end, like the man would just die. But now they rise again with 20 mortal murders or gashes or wounds in his crown and push us from our stools. Like, this man has his brains out. He has 20 mortal gashes. One gash would be enough to kill him, but he had 20 gashes, and he rises up from his death, and he is coming and sitting on my stool, on my throne. This phenomenon is more strange than the murder itself. The murder is less strange and heinous than what is going on right now. Lady Macbeth says, my worthy lord, your noble friends lack you, or they miss your company. Macbeth says, I do forget. To the lords, he says, do not be amused, do not be shocked at me. I have a strange infirmity, I have a condition, which is nothing of to those who know me. So raising his glass, he says, come, love, health to all. Then I'll sit down, fill my cup fully with wine. Enter the ghost of Banquo. So the ghost of Banquo had already left. Now he's again entering back. I drink to the general, now Macbeth is speaking, he's saying, I drink to the general joy of the table and to our dear friend Banquo, whom we miss. Would he were here, to all and him we thirst, and all to also. Imagine the guts, the audacity of Macbeth to actually be saying something like this in the absence of Banquo, while his weird presence still exists. Banquo is dead, he knows that, people don't know about that. Banquo's ghost has appeared, he has seen that, and still he is saying that, we miss Banquo and everything, like the audacity to do that. Lords say, our duties, that is our allegiance towards you, and our pledge, that is to your toast. Macbeth, on seeing the ghost, avaunt and quit my sight. Let the earth hide these. Yet again, the ghost enters. Right now, Macbeth was all cool and he was saying, this is my behavior. I have this problem, this infirmity, this condition. But again, he saw the ghost and again, he's going to act very weirdly. So he says, on seeing the ghost, avaunt and quit my sight. Let the earth hide thee. Like, go back to your grave. Thy bones are marrowless. So bones, it has this marrow in it that fills it. So he's saying, your bones are hollow. They are marrowless. Thy blood is cold, and with marrowless he also means like you're bloodless, right? Your blood is cold, and the eyes hast no speculation. That is power of see. Your eyes don't have the power to see that thou dost glare with. So you're glaring, the eyes that you're glaring me with, they don't have the power to see. Lady Macbeth says, think of this good peers as the thing of custom. So she's saying that since he's acting so weirdly, Lady Macbeth is trying to manage the situation, and she's telling everybody that it's a very this happens very frequently, so please ignore this. Macbeth says to the ghost, what man dare I dare approach me as a rugged Russian bear, armed rhinoceros, Hyrcan tiger. So the tigers, a short reference is that these tigers are from Hyrcania. I'm sorry if I pronounced this wrong. From the southeast coast of Caspian Sea, which is both proverbially and poetically fierce. So he's basically saying, take any form of an animal or anything, except the one you are in, except the form that you are in right now. Don't take the form of a ghost, take the form of a human being. Or be alive again and dare me to a desert with a sword. If I tremble, then protest me as the baby of a girl. That is, if I am scared, even when you become a rhinoceros or a tiger, then you can call me the baby of a girl. That is, call me a doll then. Like, that will be very embarrassing for a man to be called as a doll. So he's saying that you can call me a doll then. Hence, horrible shadow. So horrible shadow is referring to Banquo's ghost. Unreal mockery hence. Exit the ghost of Banquo. Why so being gone, I am man again, pray you sit still. So yet again he gets back to his senses and he tells people that please sit. Okay. Lady Macbeth says, you have displaced, that is, you have ruined the mirth, the amusement, the happiness, the joy of the room, broke the good meeting, you have destroyed the good meeting that was going on with the most admired disorder. You did not want this sort of attention, you did not want this attention, but wow, thanks to you, we have got this attention now. Macbeth says, can such thing exist and overcome a person as suddenly as a summer's cloud? Without our special wonder or astonishment, you make me strange even to the disposition I owe. So he's saying that you make me feel bad for this behavior that I've shown. Don't you understand that, the type of struggle that I have been through, the type of fear that I had to overcome? you make me wonder that you can behold such. So he's saying that you're acting as if you can behold, and like as if you can face the type of fear that I have faced. Obviously Macbeth has seen a ghost. Lady Macbeth cannot see the ghost. She's going on questioning her man's manhood and everything. She's being so heartless. She's not even trying to understand the situation the man is going through, and she's just mocking. So that is why Macbeth is saying, you're acting as if you can face that situation. I bet you can't. So you make me wonder that you can behold such sights while keeping the natural ruby of your cheeks. So he's saying that she's obviously a queen, so she's very pretty. So he's saying that you can maintain the ruby of your cheeks while actually being able to view that ghostly sight, or turned ruby of your cheeks, while mine is blanched. So he's saying you have ruby of your cheeks and mine is blanched. It is white with fear, because he's afraid of what he has just watched. Ross says, what sights, my lord? This Ross guy is very interested in everything. Like, he literally wants to know what's going on. So he's saying, what sights, my lord? What sights are you seeing? Lady Macbeth says, I pray you speak not. So a very quick move, very quick reflex. She's like, I pray you don't speak to him. He grows worse and worse. Question enrages him. So she's saying that please don't question him. If you question him, it will enrage him. Don't stand according to the order of your going, but just go at once. So Lennox says, good night and better health. Attend to your majesty. So he's asking Lady Macbeth to please attend to her husband. Lady Macbeth says, a kind good night to all exuberant lords in attendance. Macbeth says, as the saying goes, blood will have blood, stones have been known to move trees to speak, even magpies, that is the magpies, chows, that is jackdaw, and even rooks have given omens or cures that have revealed signs of the most secretest murder, what time of the night it is. So he's saying that these are the things. So remember, these are the points. Stones have been known to move trees to speak, magpies, chows. I'm sorry if I mispronounce. I'm going to mispronounce a lot of these words because these are not commonly used words, right? So I don't know. Even rooks give omens or cures that have revealed signs of the most secretest murder. So these are the signs that we get of before a murder. Lady Macbeth says, almost at the odds of the morning, which is which, you can't distinguish which one. So it's the odds of the night. So like, we don't know whether it's morning or is it night. We cannot distinguish, right? It says, how sayest about Macduff, who denied our greatest bidding? So act of defiance or insult. So we invited Macduff, but he did not show up. This is an act of defiance. This is an insult. Lady Macbeth says, did you send to him? Sir, that is, did you invite him officially? Macbeth says, I hear it, by the way, I heard about it indirectly, but I will send for him. I have a servant fed or paid a servant to spy every one of the lord's rooms. So whoever were invited to his banquet, all of them, he has hired spies to keep a track of everybody. So he's making sure that nobody gets to know about his vicious plans, right? I shall meet the witches tomorrow and they shall tell me more. For now, I am bent to know the worst from the worst. My own interests are more important than anything else. I have waded so far into the river. Okay, this is a very important, you need to imagine a bit, okay? So he has committed so many heinous crimes right now. He had already murdered Duncan, and now he has already even murdered Banquo. So he's saying that he has waded, like he has, imagine there's a river of blood, all right? A river, it's a long distance, right? So he has traveled so much in the river of the blood that he is saying that it is as tedious and unpleasant to return as to continue moving forward. So he's saying he will stop killing everybody right now, which means he will return back. But he's already committed 2 murders at this point. What's the harm in committing 1 more murder, right? So he's saying it's just as tedious to return back than to continue moving forward. So he's saying I would rather move forward. Things I have in head that must be acted or performed before they are scant. Lady Macbeth says, you lack the season or the preservative of all natures. What is she talking about? She's talking about sleep. So the preserve, like we sleep so that our brain is rejuvenated and we can perform better. So that is exactly what she is trying to say. She's saying that you lack that. Macbeth says, come, we'll to sleep. My strange and self-abuse is the initiate fear that wants hard use. We are still young or inexperienced when it comes to bad deeds. So yes, they are in fact inexperienced because they feel scared and remorse and regretful of their actions. If someone is more experienced, they will not feel regretful of their actions. Act 3, Scene 5, a short summary. The 3 witches and their queen Hecate prepare for another meeting with Macbeth. The scene takes place in a deserted place. There's thunder. Enter the 3 witches meeting Hecate. Alright, first witch says, why, how now Hecate, why do you look so angrily? By not the reason. Beldams, that is old hags as you are. So imagine she's the queen of the witches in a way, right? So she is like she'll be more toxic and negative in the way she speaks. So I'll try my best to act it out in that way. So she's saying, have I not the reason, beldams, as in old hags as you are? So she's talking to the witches. She's saying like old hags that you are, saucy, that is impudent, and overbold, like you have so much dare and audacity. How did you dare to trade or traffic, that is trick Macbeth, into riddles and affairs of death? How could you trick him? I myself, being the mistress of the charm, the close contriver, that is the secret organizer of all harms. She's the queen of the witches. She is the one, the head, the source of all the harm that is going on. And she's saying that I wasn't aware about this. You did this under my nose. I was not called to bear my part. I was not called to, do my part. I was not called to talk to Macbeth. Or to show the glory of our art. I could have shown the glory of our art, our witchcraft. And which one is worse? You have done all this for the wayward son, spoiled brat. So she is now, she's making fun of the witches. She's saying that you silly witches, you have done this for a wayward son, for a destroyed man, for a man who is only listening to you because he is looking for his own personal benefit. She's talking about Macbeth. Spiteful and wrathful, and as others do, he loves for his own ends and not you. So she's saying that he does not love you. He just loves the fact that you are giving him so many prophecies. Meet me at the Acheron, a river of the Hades, the underworld of classical mythology, tomorrow in the morning, where Macbeth will come to know his destiny. You must keep beside the vessel, that is the cauldron, spells and charms. I am from the air, so I shall fly. This night I'll spend in unto a dismal and fatal end for shadowing of Macbeth. So great business must be wrought or done, or that is before noon. So all the good businesses must be completed before noon. Upon the corner of the moon there hangs vapors or drops. So the witches were believed to invoke the moon to shed a malign influence on the herbs and other objects. So basically she's saying that there hangs a vaporous drop in the moon. So as I already explained, the witches had the power to do that. Profound with deep influences, I shall catch it or before it touches the ground. So, she can influence the moon to do some effect on the herbs, and that drop, she'll catch it before it touches the ground. And with the magic slays, that is tricks and artifice, shall rise such artificial sprites, wicked spirits made by art, not the actual demonic spirit. And with their strength of their illusion, they shall draw him into confusion. He shall spur, that is ignite, fate, scorn death, bear hope above wisdom, grace and fear. For you all know security over confidence is mortal's chiefest enemy. So if you are overconfident skills, we have all heard that, right? You can even use this quote, overconfident skills, right? So that is exactly what Hecate is saying. She's saying that mortal, as in the biggest enemy of humans, is having overconfidence. Music and song, Come Away by Thomas Middleton. Hark, I'm called, the little spirit sea sits in the foggy clouds and stays for me. First witch says, come, let's make haste, she'll soon be back again. Act 3, Scene 6. A short summary to the scene is Lennox, an unnamed lord, discuss the state affairs. Malcolm is in England, Macduff has gone to join him, and an English king is raising an army to fight against Macbeth. The scene takes place somewhere in Scotland. Enter Lennox and another lord. Lennox says, my former speeches, that is my previous speeches, hit your thoughts, they are similar, and we can further interpret or draw conclusion. Things have been born strangely, that is, strange things are taking place. The gracious Duncan pitied of, that is, lamented of. Here Lennox is choosing his words wisely, alright. Macbeth married, that is, mild oath by the Virgin Mary, so he's taking a mild oath by the Virgin Mary. He was dead, and the right valiant Banquo walked too late, whom Fleance killed, for Fleance fled. Yet again, a very big misconception that they have. They think that every time the son fleds the scene, it means that he is scared, which means he has done something wrong. But they're absolutely not, they're not even considering the fact that maybe even Fleance could have been attacked, so he was trying to save his life, but they don't know about that. They think that Fleance has killed his father, just like Malcolm and Donalbain has killed Duncan, according to them. So that is what they're thinking. Men must not walk too late, and who can fail to think the monstrous act of Malcolm and Donalbain to kill their own gracious father, as I already mentioned. Damned or cursed act or deed. It grieved Macbeth, did he not straight or immediately, in pious, that is, loyal or dutiful act of rage, the two delinquents tear. So basically, in the previous acts or scenes, if you have heard, when Duncan was killed, Macbeth blamed the people who were responsible, he just blamed them. And then he said that, he was the one who killed, but he knew he was trying to position it in a way as if those men had killed Duncan, and that is why he played the act and he killed those delinquents, right? Who were the slaves of drink. So he said people that he had made them drunk, and then he said that they were the slaves of drink and thralls of sleep. They were captivated by sleep. Was it not nobly done? And wisely too. That would have angered any man, any heart alive. So anyone who has a heart will feel angry at it. To hear the murderers deny it. The murderers were denying. They were saying that no, we have not done this thing, but they were smeared in Duncan's blood, and that is why anyone who has a heart would look at the murderers and be disgusted, and they would be angry. And that is exactly what happened to Macbeth, and that is why he killed those murderers. But I think Macbeth managed it well. He also says that if Macbeth had Duncan's sons in his power, that is under his key, which I pray did not happen, they would have else learned what it were to kill a father, and so should Fleance. So he's saying that, if Macbeth would have the sons of Duncan, let's say Malcolm and Donalbain was under his power, he would have taught them a lesson. He would have taught them what it is to kill a father, and so would even Fleance learn a lesson, right? But enough of that. I heard Macduff failed to attend the tyrant's feast, Macbeth's banquet, and he lives in the king's disgrace. Does not favor the king. Sir, can you kindly tell me where he or Macduff bestows himself? So he's talking to another lord. So the lord says, the son of Duncan, that is Malcolm, whom the tyrant, that is Macbeth, the due of birth, the birthright of crown, lives in the English court and is received of the most pious Edward, the confessor, the king of England, from the year 104 to 66. Who receives him with such grace that the malevolence of future nothing takes away from his high respect. That is, Malcolm's present misfortune does not affect the high esteem that Edward has towards him. Thither Macduff has gone to pray for the holy king's aid, to wake Sivert, the Earl of Northumberland, and his young son Sivert, and with their help and with him above, that is God's help, who will be able to ratify the work and will again be able to give to our tables meat, sleep to our night. So right now, their kingdom is facing so many problems. There are so many men are being killed, so many problems are going on, people are in stress, they are having nightmares, they're not being able to have meals, and there's so much negativity and toxicity in the air. So he's saying that the person who has the actual birthright, that is Malcolm, who has the actual birthright, he is under the help of the kings, and he is taking the help of Sivert and everyone, and this man hopes that everything will go well and they'll finally be able to have their meals in peace. Do faithful homage and receive free honors, which we pine for now. And now this report had so infuriated the king that he now prepares for a war. So this notice that reached the king, that is Edward. I think it made him angry. Yes, in fact, it made him angry, and now he's preparing for a war. Lennox says, sent he to Macduff. Did Macbeth order Macduff to return? Because Macduff also went and joined Malcolm, right? Lord said he did, and with an absolute, sir, not I, replied Macduff. So Macbeth commanded Macduff to return, and Macduff said, sir, not I. Replied Macduff. The messenger turned his back and hummed, as if saying, "You'll rule the time that clogs me," with the answer. That is, "You shall regret the day you gave me this answer." In fact, very disrespectful to turn down the king's orders, right? Lennox says, "And that well might advise him and his wisdom to maintain distance from Scotland as well as Macbeth." So, messenger hummed this information that, you'll regret the day. That is like a threat, right? That should be enough information for Macduff to maintain distance from Scotland. Like, he should stay away from Scotland as much as possible. I wish some holy angel flies to the court of England and unfold this truth, or he comes. So this would provide a swift blessing to our suffering country in the hands occur. So referring to the hands of Macbeth. So he's saying that let the angels come, let this everything be done for good. No, not angels come. Yeah, whatever. This must be done, and our country can finally rest in peace. Referring to the hands of Macbeth, and then the suffering country. The suffering country is now in the hands of Macbeth, and he's saying that may everything go well, and we can finally get rid of this. Lord says, "I'll send my prayers with him." So he's basically saying that I'll send my prayers to Macduff.